Hey, okay, so this week we're talking about, we're continuing all for the next couple of months on how to not quit, how to finish, how to actually reach your goals. So last week we talked about how to kill perfection because perfection is killing you. It's killing your goals, it's killing your progress, your momentum, your enthusiasm. So the next step in getting closer to finishing is to cut your goals in half. And that sounds really drastic. That sounds really big. It sounds like you're already quitting before you start, right? But you're not. I promise this is the way to actually get more done, not less. To accomplish more, not less. To reach your bigger goals and not compromise at all. So we talked about the first lie of perfection being that you can't even get started. You'll never finish it. You'll never accomplish it. You're too fat. You're too skinny. You're too tall. You're too old. You're too young. You have too much going on. You have too many kids. You're too busy. You don't have enough support. There are a million reasons why perfection tells you you cannot reach your goals. But let's pretend you've ignored them. Let's pretend you moved on and you're like, I'm going to do this anyway. I am stoic. I'm going to make this happen. Well, the next lie that perfection tells you is that, okay, well, if you're going to do this, you have to do it really big. Go big or go home. You start to imagine all these great additions to your original goal. For example, something from my life. I learned recently about a really cool Craig jig and I want to start doing some woodworking. And so we've been thinking, we've lived in our house for a year. We've been thinking we want to customize the kids' rooms more. When we first moved in, we have a front room that's kind of like a den, kind of like an office area. It's kind of small, but we've never had the extra room before. So we were like, perfect, playroom, great idea. But then we kind of reworked the plans and now we want to use it for something else. So we moved all the kids' toys upstairs to their bedrooms, but the bedrooms are like a war zone. There's always toys everywhere and mostly Legos. We live in the world of Legos. Legos are our whole family's favorite toys, which then means that we're stepping on Legos all the time. There's no flat surface or anything in the kids' rooms. Everything's carpeted. So we want to build Lego tables and I want to use this awesome Craig jig to be able to make it happen. It'll make it so easy. But we're busy. So we have 4 kids. We have all these reasons why we can't do this job. Or we can't reach these goals. But we're going to push through anyway because we want to make it happen. So then Jacob and I, we started talking about how great it'll be to have the Lego tables. And once those are in the place, then we can redo their closets. We can build bookshelves. We can hang shelves on the wall so they can hang up or put all their little creations on display. And it'll be so great when their rooms are all finished. And then this goal of just making a really simple tabletop with some cubbies in it has turned into an entire double bedroom makeover, which is too much for any one mom with a budding business and 4 kids for a full-time job to do on her own, right? And he wants to help, but he works in a different town, so he's not home that much. So this perfectionism starts to tell us another lie, that everything has to be big. And if it's not big and if it's not perfect, then we really shouldn't even try to begin with. So what are we to do? We're going to cut the goal in half. And in my case, go back to the original goal, or maybe even half that. So my original goal was I want to make two Lego tables, one for the boys' room, for the girls' room. But you know what? To be realistic, I haven't even used the Craig jig yet. So to be realistic, I need to cut that goal in half. I need to make a tabletop, one single tabletop. Connect 2 pieces of wood, maybe 3, in the way that I saw on YouTube, so that it makes just a flat surface. That's a realistic goal. I can do that. But then once I reach that goal, then I can add to it and say, oh, well, the next goal is to make some legs for it or a cubby thing to attach it to so we can put the Legos underneath. And then voila, 1 Lego table done. But if I had stuck with, or if I choose to stick with the bigger goal, the big giant go big or go home goal of redoing their whole rooms, then I'll never accomplish it. Therefore, I will actually end up doing less. You see how that works? So let's pretend instead that your goal is to clean out your house. It's not spring anymore, but let's do some spring cleaning in the summer. Unless you're in Phoenix and then you wait until winter, right? Because it's 5,000 degrees there. So let's say you want to clean out four rooms in your house. You want to just empty it all out, sift through everything, only put back the stuff you like that you want to keep. We do the whole KonMari method with the Japanese art of I forget what it's called now. Anyway, decluttering stuff, getting rid of all the crap. So let's pretend you want to do that. Well, if you've waited this long to where your house is crazy full and cluttered, you have 2 choices. Either you can cut the goal in half, or you can not do it at all, because tackling the entire goal is not going to happen. That's the reality. It's not going to happen. So you can choose either to get 50% or 0, and 50% is always better. Doing 50% of a job is always more than doing no job, right? Right? So automatically you're going to end up doing more than if you just sat and wallowed in, well, it's too much, I can't do it, So if you go ahead and clean out one room, and that's as far as you get, you've at least done one room. So let's cut the goal in half. Let's say you wanted to clean out 4 rooms. So let's go for 2. If you get 1 room done, that's great. If you get 2 rooms done, you've met your goal. But if you hadn't cut your goal in half to begin with, then you'd feel like a failure, right? Because you only got half of it done. Let's say, for the sake of our health and fitness group, that you are here to lose 20 pounds. Okay, well then let's cut that goal in half. And let's say realistically, you can lose 10 pounds in a month. And most of the Beachbody programs, I can't think of one where this isn't true, but just for sake of argument, we'll say most. Most of the Beachbody programs, if you actually commit to the nutrition plan, and if you actually commit to doing the workouts each day and follow the calendar, you will lose about 10 pounds a month, unless you're like really, really close to your goal weight, and then it gets harder. We can talk about that one-on-one. So anyway, if your goal is to lose 20 pounds and you cut the goal in half, and you actually meet that 10-pound goal, then you're going to feel awesome. You're going to be enthusiastic about going on for those next 10 pounds. But if you go into it thinking, okay, well, I have to lose 20 pounds and you only lose 10, then you feel like a failure. And you're going to quit because you didn't reach your goal. And you're going to be feeling discouraged. And you might not even try to set another goal. But if you hit the 10-pound mark, then you hit your half goal. And that's going to encourage you to go on to set more goals. Okay, let's go back to the Lego table thing, right? I talked about making just the tabletop. I reached a goal, and then I feel empowered, so I can build the bottom of it, build the cubbies and attach it. Second goal reached. Well, then if I feel empowered because I did 1 table, I'm sure I can do 2 tables, and I'll end up doing more than I am right now, because the goal was to redo both kids' rooms entirely. I'm not going to be able to make that happen, so I feel discouraged, and I might not ever try any woodworking projects again, right? I hope I'm illustrating what I'm trying to say. Let me know if I'm not, and I'll try again. I have my notes down here, so just a minute. So it seems like it'd be logical to just go big. If you want to do something, you want to do it right? We know that you are really good at whatever you want to do, that you have high expectations of yourself and your abilities, and that if all goes well, you really can accomplish a lot. But life is going to come in. We know that because of the day after perfection, right? We're going to fail. So if we can just plan for the failure and realize we're not going to make it all the way to what the biggest things we can imagine, and just be prepared to pick up the pieces and keep going, then we'll be more successful. And that's why halving the goal is going to be the best route. But what if you can't cut your goal in half? The example that John Acuff uses in the book is like paying off debt. So if you owe $10,000 in debt somewhere, you can't only pay $5,000, right? That's not okay. You have to pay the whole debt. So what you would do instead is double your timeline. This works with weight loss and stuff too. So let's go ahead and say you do want to lose 20 pounds. Well, if you want to lose 20 pounds in a month, it's probably possible, especially if you're really committed and you're really on point with your eating and your exercise and getting enough sleep and not being under too much stress, all the stuff we've already talked about. If you're really on point, you can lose 20 pounds a month, no problem. But life is going to happen. It's not going to go perfectly. It's not going to always be smooth. So let's extend the goal and make it a 2-month goal instead of a 1-month goal. And then when you get to the end of the first month, you can keep measuring and keep track of your metrics and see how you're doing. And each time that you reach your goal, you're going to be empowered to set another goal and then do more. Okay, one of my favorite things from the book, The Compound Effect, is when Darren Hardy talks about your BHAGs, your big, hairy, audacious goals. I have a lot of BHAGs. One of them is to pay off the loan from my house, the mortgage, pay off our mortgage in full by the time that Jacob is done working off his student loan debt, which is going to take about 8 more years. 8 years is a really short time to pay off a house, especially in Flagstaff, because it's like California prices. It's a lot of money, but that's one of my goals. That's one of the reasons I started turning this coaching thing into a business, so that I can actually earn money towards our mortgage. We can double our mortgage payments and yada, yada, yada. So that's a big, hairy, audacious goal. But if I focus on the big goal, I'm going to go crazy because it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I can't just make that happen. It has to be little incremental goals. So what Darren Hardy says, and John Acuff, he echoes this in his book too, and research shows that it's true. The best way to go about reaching a big giant goal is to cut it into manageable chunks. But then even more, you take one of those manageable chunks. So you've forgotten to, you put the BHAG back here on the shelf and you're not focusing on it. It's there. You think about it sometimes. You imagine it. You daydream. You get into the groove with it, but you put it on the shelf. That's not your focus. Your focus then is this manageable chunk. But even more than that, subdivide it, like cutting it in half, maybe even in quarters, and make it even more manageable so that when perfection sets in and you fail, you can still pick yourself up and try again. So with my business, the bigger goal is to pay off the house, but we also set yearly goals and quarterly goals and monthly goals for my business, for my income, for the projected growth that I want to have so I can reach the bigger goal, so I can reach the manageable chunks. Same thing with your health and fitness. And if you're doing the 2B mindset, or if you've done that, if you've looked into it so far, one of Alana Molstein's major principles in the 2B mindset is that you should always set your goals to lose 2 pounds at a time, because 2 pounds is always manageable. You can usually lose 2 pounds in just a couple of days, like less than a week. It's not abnormal to lose 3 or 4 pounds in a week if you're actually following the program the way that she set it up. So if you can, get on the scale one day and say, okay, this is my current weight. This is information. It's nothing to feel ashamed about or bad about. And then you get off, a couple of days later, you come back and you see you've lost 2 pounds, you have hit your goal. You've already made progress. And then you can be excited about it and set another goal. Okay, I want to lose 2 more pounds. That's totally manageable. That's like 3 or 4 days worth of focus, not a whole month at a time, not 2 months at a time. And if your goal is to lose 20 pounds, you just have to lose those 2 pounds 10 times, which means that you just have to do like 3-day segments of losing 2 pounds, right? So it's manageable. And then each time that you hit one of those goals, one of those little milestones, you can celebrate, feel victorious, feel empowered, and keep going to reach more goals. So whatever your goal is right now, I want to hear about it in the comments. There are homework assignments listed there in the text. So do those assignments, whether you share it with the group or not, do those assignments. But I want to hear what your original goal was and what you've turned it into now that you're going to cut it in half. Or if you can't cut it in half, then double the timeline. Excuse me. In the book, Finish, John Acuff also talks about work-related goals. And I just want to touch on it for a minute because all of these principles you can apply to any goals in your life, including work goals. But if you are not the one setting your goals at work, like if your manager is or your supervisor is, then it's just your job to be realistic and be the voice of reason if they're setting goals that are too high. So you might not be able to change your goals at work. You can't necessarily cut it in half or change the timeline, but you can be the voice of reason and explain these things to whoever it is that's setting the goals, or whoever is helping you to reach the goals at work, if it's above your superior and stuff. So if you want more information about that, go ahead and read the book or listen to it on Audible. That's how I do it. And I just want to add one last thing, because perfection has a third lie, and we'll talk about more as we go through the group. But the third lie that goes along with go big or go home is that it's now or never. And it's never now or never, really. Let's say your goal is to lose 20 pounds. Do you have to lose 20 pounds right now or you're going to die? Probably not. It's not now or never. If your goal is to declutter your house, it's not now or never. You can take the time to actually do it, start to finish, and fulfill your goals. You don't have to drop your goals just because the timeline got expanded or because you have to cut your goal in half and break it into 2 goals. It's not now or never. So if you're feeling like it is, then do this exercise. Write down what your goal is and then play the game of what's the worst that could happen. So let's say that you set your goal to lose 20 pounds and then you cut it in half. What's the worst that could happen if you only lose 10 pounds? That's for you to fill in the blank. What's the worst that could happen? And you'll see pretty quickly, if you do this for a couple of goals, that there is no downside to it. Either you hit 50% or you hit 0, and 50% is always better. So, okay, have a fantastic day. I hope everyone enjoys their 4th of July week, and we'll catch you in the group as we go along. Keep focusing on your food, on your exercise, on your mental health, and keep posting in here and sharing your successes and failures. I'm really having a great time with this group, and I will talk to you guys later.